Okay, spotters up.
Shooter's ready.
1.1 left.
Scratch that, hold left. Impact! Center first shot!
Okay, you're on the right edge of the target. We're going to increase our wind.
So welcome back, friends. Today we're going to be working on the range. Now I need to upgrade the 100 and the 200 yard targets because they're not working out very well. They're too short and the grass grows up and then we can't see them. So we're going to raise these things up. And I thought it might be interesting to you. These these target stands are built out of just regular conduit that you can get at any big box store. It's a really cheap, it's a really durable and really portable way to do targets. I'll show you how it works and then we'll just kind of work here together and get them raised up so we can see them over the grass. What I've got here is just some 10-foot sections of EMT 1-inch metal conduit. Who knows what EMT is? We'll see how many electricians we have in the comment section. Conduit, of course, comes in 10-foot lengths, and so we're just going to be cutting these guys in half, and this will give us 5-foot legs. I told you guys those straps come in handy. I had the perfect example. I took off and the things were bouncing all over the place, and I thought, I'll put one of my favorite straps on there, and that certainly took care of business here. As you guys know, next Wednesday we've got the Thunder Ranch, the Wranglerstar Urban Rifle Course. Mrs. W came to me this morning and she was a little nervous. She hadn't shot a whole lot since that class. She said, "Can you take me out and we can practice for a couple hours so I don't look like a complete newbie?" I said, yeah, we sure can. So I'll show you real quickly how these guys work. Oh, here's a pro tip. I love learning things from guys with experience. There's an old guy, we were putting dirt bike gear on, and we had to change our shoes, and we were tiptoeing around trying not to get wet and muddy. He had a little piece of indoor-outdoor carpet in his bag. He put it down and stood on it. I looked at that and I thought, that is so smart. I've adopted that myself. I put one in my toolbox so I don't get my knees all wet and don't lose all my fasteners and stuff. Okay, I wanted to show you real quickly how these work. So these, of course, this is the 100-yard target, and the prop it's just too low. Let me give you young guys a bit of advice here. So if you ask someone, for example, to borrow their target, and you and your boys come out and you and your boys shoot a bunch of holes in the legs of the target and you don't repair it or make a acknowledgement of that, don't do that. Anyway, here's the whole background here's the whole backbone. There's wasps in there. This time of year, those wasps, they hang out in these little pipes, anything that's open. That's why when you're fabricating stuff and you're making like trailers and everything, cap the ends of it. If you cap the ends of it, then you don't get those wasps in there and the bugs and all those. But here's the backbone of the whole system right there. It's just, that's what you buy. I got these targets, I ordered them from, I think it was shootsteel.com. And I think this is their invention. Nice thing about it is you can just take these quick pins out real quick, and if you can throw them in the back of your truck or in a bag, and you can put your targets, they'll break down really quickly and you can take them out to wherever you want to shoot. So it makes it very simple. All right, we're gonna go with a metal cutting blade here for a Sawzall. This is one of those tools that I can't tell if I hate it or if I love it. It's handy. It's kind of a small mini Sawzall, but it's not that small, but it doesn't have any power. So I keep grabbing it and using it because I like the one-hand operation, but it's not the ideal tool. Yeah, I do not like that tool. I think I could chew through that thing faster sometimes. Now we're gonna have to drill the holes there for those pins. For stuff like this, I really am a fan of these step drill bits. This is just an old beater one that I bought years ago from Harbor Freight, and that thing keeps on chugging. It doesn't work any worse than the high dollar one I bought. Actually, I think it actually works better. But this is nice because you don't have to carry a whole bunch of drill bits with these step bits. They come in all, so like this one here. So on our steps, we're going to go 1, 2, 3. So it looks like probably 3 would do it. We'll start with that. Maybe that step bit wasn't the best choice for down here. Had I had a normal drill bit, I could drill through both sides real quickly instead of having to measure twice and go through all this rigmarole. I got these holes off a little bit on this one. Here's a perfect example of how the Holy Spirit helps you through your day-to-day life. I was putting all my tools together. It was not on my mind to bring a hammer, and the Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, "You sure you don't want to take a hammer?" Yeah, it's probably a good idea. You never know. That happens to me all the time. It's going to be really interesting when we're in the kingdom. If we have the ability to kind of look back on our life and all the times that we got little help, little reminders and helps, you know, to get through life and to make life a little easier, I think we're going to be surprised how often that happens. All right, let's try that out. That's a lot better. Get it up out of the weeds. You probably noticed that I got the backhoe on. We got some digging projects here coming up. Probably after next week, after Thunder Ranch, we get back on that. So that's a lot better. I've been meaning to do this for a long time. Now we can get it up. These targets have been really fun. We've really enjoyed it. They're amazing how durable it is. We've actually put thousands of rounds into these things. They're everywhere from 5.56 up to 300 Weatherby, 7mm Magnum, you know, some pretty big rounds and no problems. What's kind of cool about the 100 and the 200 yard targets are different than the other ones in that they're all steel and they just kind of hinge on the steel right here, and you get that nice report, you know, back when you hit them. And they're just super durable. But one of the cool safety features with these is that typically on your targets, you may know this, maybe you don't, if you're shooting steel inside of 200 rounds, it's not recommended, you know, to be very close to it actually. So what they do is, if you look at these, they kind of hang at a little bit of an angle, so that helps. So as the projectile comes in, it's more likely to hit and display down rather than coming back on you. So the 100 and the 200 are built like this. Now, as we go on, of course, we have 6 targets. We have them on 100 yard increments, and they progressively get bigger. So this being the closest one, I think that's a 4-incher, and then the 200 is a 6, and the 300 I think is an 8, and then we go to like a 12 and a 15 or something like that. They get progressively bigger, so it gives you a little chance, because 600 yards for most folks is that's quite a ways. In the past couple years, I've taken 2 classes out at Thunder Ranch. Thunder Ranch, if you don't know, it's in Southern Oregon. It's the premier firearms training school in the country, if not anywhere. One thing that I noticed right away was the facility. Clint and Heidi keep the facility immaculate. It's very unusual to go to a range that has that type of volume. And not to see holes shot and stuff. But you won't find a hole anywhere. They're very fastidious. Clint makes sure that everything is at the, you know, just top notch, and that made such an impression upon me the first time I was there. And I've kind of adopted that as myself. And you know, it's such a, like this thing. Even if I were going to keep these legs, I would come down here and repair that. Yeah, it works just fine. But you know, having holes in this And it's really a metaphor for life. When we start making those compromises, once you accept something, for example, once you engage in maybe not always being truthful or faithful or doing a good job, it's easier to do it next time. And the more that you let things slide and the more compromises you allow in your life, I guess the worse and worse things seem to become, and it just becomes easy to become slovenly and to do poor work. And I know it's not always possible. I mean, I Lord knows, I could do a lot of things better, but it's not about being perfect all the time. It's about striving for that perfection, and that was the greatest lesson that I got out of Thunder Ranch and just being around Clint and Heidi. More so, of course, you know, the shooting skills and all that thing, that's a given. But just being around people of excellence, it rubs off on you. And the same way with the other side, you be around people who are not excellent, and that rubs off on you as well. I was telling you guys how the other targets hang different than the 100 and the 200. This is the 300, and that looks like it's probably about a 10-inch, maybe an 8-inch, 8 or 10 target. Now these are hanging flat. That's okay, because you're at 300 yards, you're outside of any danger for ricochet. And these, of course, are just, what is that? It's probably 1/2 inch. No, it's not quite 1/2 inch. It might be 3/8, probably 3/8 AR 500 steel. But you can look at it here after many rounds, and those things that last a long time. What I like about these guys is that they hang by these heavy rubber straps. I don't know what this stuff is. I would imagine it's probably conveyor, maybe some sort of like a conveyor belt, and maybe thicker than that, conveyor belt rubber. If you want a good workbench material, if you work on guns and stuff, I've seen some guys that use conveyor belt. You can find it used on eBay sometimes when it gets worn out. Man, you buy that stuff and contact cement that down on a workbench. That's really a great workbench because it's soft and anything you put on it won't get damaged. I've kind of been meaning to do that one of these days. I've just got either steel or wood. Wood's good too as well. But they lock on with these collars here with Allen's bolts, and then they just hang here and then you can replace them. There's a lot of holes that have been shot through these rubber deals here. You can see them, but it almost kind of just, I wouldn't say it repairs itself, but it just closes up around it. And it doesn't seem to work. I asked the guys how long these things will last. They say they last a long time. For just a home range, something you have yourself for your own targets, I'd imagine you're probably never going to replace these guys, not for a long time anyway. But that's how the other ones are mounted. All right, friends, that's probably about all we have time for today. Those of you who will be joining us at the Thunder Ranch class next week, check your email. I just got my email from Heidi, kind of giving you a heads up on some things. Now remember, it's 5,400 feet there. You start getting up in a pretty, kind of mountainous environment, and it can be kind of extreme weather-wise. So make sure you got your rain pants. Knee pads are really advisable, and have your lunches and all that stuff. Mrs. W and I are super excited. It is one of the highlights of our years to go there I like just hanging out with Clint and Heidi. I mean, I love shooting. Don't get me wrong, but it's kind of like my love affair with dirt biking. I love to ride dirt bikes and motorcycles, but just as much I like to work on them as well. So we will be sharing some videos from that. Maybe we might just post them up on BitChute and just circumvent YouTube. And that's kind of what they're forcing us to do. It's going to be interesting to see what happens the next 5 years ago with social media, with YouTube and all of these big companies. There just hasn't been any place else to go for a long time, and that is starting to change. When you start, one of the crack in the foundation happened just the other day, and that was when PewDiePie, which is the biggest YouTuber on the platform, announced publicly that he's going to be live streaming on a third-party site. And you know, maybe you saw that and in the news and you didn't think too much of it, but that was a huge sledgehammer blow against the foundations of these monopolies, for lack of a better word, and shows a lot of courage on his part. Regardless of what you think of him and his content, he is. I like the fact that he's always stayed true to himself, and he's always stayed true to free speech, and he hasn't conformed. He's paid a great price for it, but I do admire that aspect of it. So, all right, thanks for watching. Don't forget to click the thumbs up if you enjoy these videos, and we'll see you on the next one. Boy, life looks pretty good around here.
Hi, we needed a study break.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Hi, baby. Are you bouncing? How about you, Jack? Are you bouncing too?
I'm not really, not with CeeLo.
Let's see, what can she do?
That's about it. There she is.
I was telling everyone that we were, you asked about maybe doing a little brush up on before we go to Thunder Ranch.
I need it for sure.
I got the targets set up for you. Hi there, cutie pie. What are you up to? You want to come see Papa? Yeah. What does Papa say? What does the T-Rex say? What does it say? What does a T-Rex say? All right, hop.
Jump.
Jump.
Jump. Oh, she's looking for you.
Oh, she wants me to come in. Okay, I'm coming. You want me to come in with you? What do you think? Take my hand? You want to see Papa? Oh my goodness, my heart is absolutely melting right now.
Every day.
Every day. That's all right. I'm okay with it. Yeah. Should we go in and jump? Let's do it. Let's jump. All right.
Come on, sweetie.
Wait. You ready? You want to sit? Here we go. She's kind of just like Beto there on the campaign trail.
Just shaking her arms.
Oh.
I'm gonna get you.
Oh, bonk.